All right, folks, it's a beautiful day at the old ballpark, so put your mustard on that dog, grab that bag of peanuts, sip that cold one, and let's meet our Tiger of the Day.
Today's Tiger video is Jeremy Bonderman. He is represented by a 2007 Upper Deck Ultimate Collection, America's Pastime Signatures, slabbed by Stats Grading. If you're a Detroit Tigers fan from the 2000s, you remember the vibe. The team was rebuilding, Comerica was still finding its identity, and the Tigers were searching for arms they could grow into something real. Then, out of nowhere, here comes a 20-year-old right-hander with a nasty slider and the kind of fastball that makes hitters rush their swings. Today, we're talking about Jeremy Bonderman, and specifically, his time in Detroit. How the Tigers got him, why his path to the majors was so unusual, how he became a key part of the rotation, and how he delivered one of the most memorable playoff performances Tigers fans saw in that decade. Bonderman didn't start as a Tigers draft pick. He was a first-round talent originally selected by Oakland. But Detroit acquired him through one of those classic early 2000s multi-team deals, the one that included Jeff Weaver going to the Yankees and Ted Lilly heading to the A's. Bonderman ultimately came to Detroit as the player to be named later, completing the trade. That little detail matters because it shows how the Tigers were operating at the time. They were hunting for upside, chasing young pitching that could become a foundation. Here's where Bonderman's story gets wild. Most pitchers take the traditional ladder, high A, double A, triple A. Then the majors. Detroit didn't do that with Bonderman. In 2003, the Tigers essentially said, "You're learning here at the highest level." He made his Tigers debut at age 20, and the jump was so aggressive that it became a headline fact about his career. Detroit pushed him to the majors without the typical upper minors runway. And if you're thinking, that's a lot to ask from a 20-year-old, you're right. Bonderman's rookie season happened in the middle of a brutal year for Detroit. That 2003 Tigers team was historically bad, and a young starter can only do so much when the entire season feels like survival mode. But the important part isn't just the wins and losses, it's that Detroit kept him in the mix. They treated him like a long-term project and a potential rotation cornerstone. By 2005, the Tigers had built enough confidence in him that he got the opening day start. A moment that said, "You're not just here to fill innings anymore, you're leading us." If you want the "this is who Jeremy Bonderman was at his best" season, it's 2006. That year, he put up career highs in starts, innings, and strikeouts. A 200 strikeout season that put him in rare Tigers company. And it wasn't just volume. He had the stuff. His slider especially became the pitch fans remember, sharp, late, and nasty when he was right. This was also the year Detroit jumped from promising to dangerous. And Bonderman wasn't watching from the side. He was a real part of why they could line up in a postseason series and match up with anybody. Let's go straight to the moment. 2006 ALDS Tigers versus Yankees. Game 4. Detroit has a chance to close the series, and Bonderman takes the ball. What happens next is one of the coolest Tigers playoff pitching performances of that era. Bonderman carries a perfect game into the 6th inning before it finally gets broken up. And he doesn't just flirt with history, he finishes the job, he gets the win, and Detroit wins the game that clinches the series. That's not just a good start. That's a postseason signature. And he wasn't done. He also took the mound in the ALCS as Detroit completed its march to the World Series. After years of being pushed hard and piling up innings, the next chapter turned frustrating. In 2007, he was even in the mix for an all-star roster spot through the MLB final vote, finishing second. But in 2008, everything shifted. Bonderman dealt with a blood clot linked to thoracic outlet compression syndrome, putting his season and his pitching future into question. From there, it became a battle to stay on the mound consistently. He returned, kept competing, but the every 5 days power starter version of Bonderman was harder to sustain. By 2010, Bonderman was still starting, but the results weren't where he or Detroit wanted them. And after the season, he hit free agency. Then came one of those baseball story twists. Bonderman came back. In 2013, the Tigers brought him in, and he ended up getting called up to help the bullpen for a stretch. It wasn't the same version of him as 2006, but it was a final return to Detroit moment that a lot of fans still remember as a cool baseball homecoming. Jeremy Bonderman's Tigers career is a snapshot of an era. A young arm thrown into the fire during the rebuild, a peak that lined up perfectly with Detroit's 2006 rise, and a postseason start against the Yankees that still stands out. If you enjoyed this deep dive Tiger story, drop a like, subscribe, and comment.